I'll make sure that I sell my agenda to other colleagues from other countries and see how we have an East Africa that benefits our people. So that if there is a referendum about East Africa, the people vote overwhelmingly to support the existence of the East African community. I want to say thank you. Asante sana. Mwebale nnyo, mwebale ino, mwebale munonga, afoyo, EALA manoi, wanyara nabi, Uganda yetu, East Africa yetu. God bless you. When you get a chance, tell a friend to vote KAIJA, Harold as one of the MPs of East Africa, represent the opposition, but in this way, would be representing the people of Uganda. Thank you so much. God bless you.
Dear members of Parliament of the 11th Parliament, first of all, I want to take this very important opportunity to congratulate you upon your successful election as members of the August House. It is a privilege to be in that house as a person who has tried twice to be in that house. I know what it takes to be there, and I'm always envious of the person who has entered that house. It is a hustle, it is a hard job, it takes a lot of sacrifice and some bit of luck to get in that house. I want to say congratulations all the members of Parliament who are in the 11th Parliament. I also want to take this opportunity to wish you a happy and prosperous 2022, a year that I wish that God gives you whatever you wish for. My name is Harold KAIJA. I am the Deputy Secretary General of the FDC, and I am now the official flag bearer of the Forum for Democratic Change, contesting for the East African Legislative Assembly 2022-2027. So I'm glad to introduce myself to you, the voters, because you're our electoral college that is supposed to make me an MP or to deny me that. I want to introduce myself, mark the profile. I hold a diploma in education, Chambogo University. I hold a bachelor's of management science from Chambogo. That would be like a BBA in other universities, the Bachelor of Accounting. I have a bachelor's of arts in economics. I have a master's in business administration, which is briefly called MBA, specializing in finance from Makerere University. And I also hold my second master's of arts in economic policy and management. That is my academic background. I have been in the struggle for social and economic justice for quite a long time, for about 20 years. I have experience in teaching, management, and economic policy analysis. Today I'm basically known as an economist and a person who has passion for climate change. I am as I told you, I'm contesting for the East African Legislative Assembly slot on the FDC card, and I want to briefly talk about why I feel I am the best and what I feel I want to stand for. The East African community started way back by the British. Remember when they had Uganda Protectorate and Kenya colony, and after the Second World War, when Germany was defeated, its colony called Tanganyika, present-day Tanzania, was given as a mandate to the British to keep it until when it's strong enough to have self-governance, or what we call independence. The British created what was called the Common Service Bureau of East Africa, in which there was the East African Railway, East African Airline, East African Shipping Line, Common Currency Bureau, a Research Bureau, Mackay University College, and Post Services. Then eventually we even had the East African Bank. In 1961, Tanzania got its independence. 1962, Uganda got its independence. And 1963, Kenya got its independence. Because of these joint investments that had been started by the British, and the Africans had actually enjoyed them, the three heads of East Africa, Apollo Milton Obote, Mzee Jomo Kenyatta, and Mwalimu Julius Nyerere, created what we now call the East African community. Many people in the community enjoyed, as it was easy. You would hear those who wanted to study laws would go and study them in Dar es Salaam University. Teachers, doctors were here in Uganda. Those who wanted to study business would go and study it at the University of Nairobi. So those were benefits. The railway interconnected the East African countries, the airline, post office. So even in that way, they were able to utilize the resources they had and minimize wastage and competition. You'd find Kenyans working in ministries in Uganda. Likewise, Ugandans working in ministries in Tanzania. So it was easy for one to get the job. But because of selfish interests in the political class, the East African community collapsed. By 1977-78, there was no East African community. So these countries fell apart and started working privately. In 2009, now 23 years ago, the leaders of East Africa, Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, came together and said we need to rejuvenate the East African community. Look at what we lost in the other period and look at the benefits we benefited, keep the benefits, eliminate what was actually breaking down. They said that we need to cooperate mainly to strengthen our economic, social, political, and technological ties. For me, I'll basically look at the economic and technological ties, because this community, the reason as to why countries would want to come together is to reduce the strings, the roadblocks, the bottlenecks, whatever would actually stop people from developing. Remove the physical borders so that you move freely, so that factors of production, labor, capital, entrepreneurship, and then the land can be utilized in a wider scope. Because a population like of Uganda would be seen as small, Kenya was seen as small, Tanzania was seen as small, and eventually when they added on Rwanda and Burundi, Southern Sudan now understand the process is on to add on the DRC, Democratic Republic of Congo. So these numbers, because now when you talk about a market of about 300 million, that would be nearing the one of the US. That population inspires one to produce, because you know such people will come and buy. So in that way, that would help local entrepreneurs, foreign companies that would come and invest in what we call foreign direct investment, looking at what we have. Competition will be easier, and it's even easy to know who is our best. Because if all our teachers are saying in Makerere, our doctor will know who is the best, who is our best engineer, who is our best lawyer, who is our best ICT. So in that area, that population was good enough that can boost East Africa. But unfortunately, 23 years down the road, the local citizen of Uganda cannot feel the impact of the East African community. We have not seen advocates wanting jobs, seeking for jobs opportunities, for investments, for services. Because today when you hear, when they're talking about the standard gauge, it was sent to all countries, you do your part. When actually, if we had really wanted an East African project, we would pull resources together. That would even help us to reduce the Chinese influence in our region. Because we know who is our best consultant, who is our best engineer, would pull resources, be able to buy machinery, and hit the road. You are aware that even up to today, pensioners of East African community are still demanding for their money. Those who used to work there. But today we are having something like a club. We've had wanting the fast tracking of the East Africa, of the political federation. I want to appeal to colleagues. That is not in the near future. Because older communities like the European Union, ECOWAS, SADC, and the one of South America, Asia, North America, have not reached at the point of political federation. Before we get to the political federation, let's have a serious economic and social federation, whereby a Ugandan going to Kenya feels I am going home. Like a person moving from Masaka to Kampala, moving from Kampala going to Gulu. You feel there is that freedom. That is lacking. I am scared that if today there was a referendum in this country seeking to stay in this African or to leave, because of the things we have had, the relationship between we and other countries, Ugandans might even vote for KIZZA, and we get a KIZZA. The Kenyan, you remember, the British, when a referendum about the European Union came to, was taken to the people, the British decided to exit because the political class knew their benefits, but the benefits was not felt by the people. When you speak about to people who work in the East African community, the last one that collapsed, they talk about something they feel, something they cherish, something they love. So before all of them die, and they're still around, we must speak something and rejuvenate East Africa. It is on that line that Harold KAIJA, I come before you to seek to become a representative of East Africa. In the past, my party, for 10 years, it had been closed out of the East African community. Most of the thinking we are mad dogs who would go and spoil the party. But for 10 years, we're not in there. They see us, they not see a tangible thing that can be felt by the people of Uganda. There is some work being done, but what must actually touch on the life of the people of Uganda. Even the media does not follow what happens in Arusha. That tells you they feel it is the time because the media is commercial. It wants to go where people want to, where they want to pick some information. So for me, two issues take me there: climate change and the economic well-being of our people. That's why I'm running on the theme of creating a community of opportunities. My first reason for wanting to be supported to become the MP for East Africa, I want to advocate for climate change policies, favorable climate change policies. As you're aware that climate change is biting hard our region in the form of global warming, floods, drought, famine, pests and diseases, leading to persistent food shortage around the country. In a country or in an area that is known to be on the equator with a lot of rainfall, today famine has stuck. We have seen floods all over, and that is creating poverty. People. Forests have been cut, and we're in a region that now boasts of tourism. Most of our tourism is based on our nature. Animals,
birds, the terrain, forests, and the beauty of our countries. So with the way human beings cut forests, encroached in wetlands, removed sand, the way we've used sand and other natural resources, it has led to floodings, it has led to change in weather conditions, it has led to a lot of heat, we have led to pollution. In the end, they are affecting what is actually supposed to be bringing us money. You hear they find elephants dead, lions dead, chimpanzees dead, birds dead, etc. So what is actually supposed to be one of the major sources of revenue to East Africa is being eroded. So I want to go to Arusha and advocate for policies that are climate change sensitive, so that we protect our mother, East Africa, so that we push back, because as you must be aware, the Sahara Desert every year moves about 150 kilometers south. So what do you do to push it back? So those policies must be done at a regional level. That what we are doing, Kenya is doing, Rwanda is doing, DRC is doing, Tanzania is doing, Southern Sudan is doing, so that as a unit, as a community, we have an East Africa that is sensitive to climate change. The other reason or factor that I want to advocate for, or policy, I want to advocate for policy for a single East African currency. This will help us to harmonize prices, to remove instances of people being cheated without knowing what this currency means, the weight of each currency, because somebody tells of a price depending on how they see you, and your ignorance actually affects your ability to negotiate exchange rates. As you are aware, as I told you earlier, we are a region of 7 countries, 300 plus million people with 7 currencies. That is absurd. The US that has 350 million people, they have a single currency, the dollar. So because anybody would want to deal with 300 million Americans, it has become a hard currency, moved all over the world. So an American coming to East Africa will have where to eat, what to eat, where to sleep, move using his dollar. Anybody would want the dollar. Europe of 27 countries, they have the euro. It is now outcompeting the dollar in as far as the exchange rates are concerned. If you came with it here, everybody would want it. But pick a Uganda shilling, have $1 billion, go to Kenya. You'll have nothing to eat. Go to Burundi, you may have nothing to eat. But we are saying we're in a community. But the dollar is accepted, the euro is accepted, but the Uganda shilling is not accepted. It's not a means of transacting business. Cannot pay bills. Cannot pay debts. So having a one currency
would even help us reduce the money that people lose when they are exchanging money. I want to give you an example. When if a Kenyan came to Uganda with just 1,000 Kenyan shillings, if he deposits to a Forex Bureau, they'll give him 34,000 Uganda shillings. If he doesn't use it at all and has all of this money and takes this same money to a Forex Bureau, they'll give him 910 Kenyan shillings. 90 has been lost just through exchange. If this person goes to the 7 countries, Rwanda, Southern Sudan, DRC Congo, Burundi, and Tanzania, by the time he goes back home, because of keeping exchanging and getting back your money, he may find himself with about 100 Kenyan shillings, about 900 shillings being lost in exchange. So we need to have a single currency to smoothen the running of business in the region. And you see the beauty with it, when you're having 300 million population, the Egyptians will want to sell something here. You may find an Egyptian will find it easy to come and pick an East African shilling. Somebody from SADC. So you find that you have a currency that can move around Africa. Because at least in our 7 countries, somebody from Morocco, Egypt, Sierra Leone, Ghana, Nigeria, South Africa, Botswana, Zimbabwe, Zambia, all want to come to East Africa. So that instead of preparing this well with dollars, they will be looking for East African shillings. So it's another policy, my second policy, that I want to advocate for. The other policy that I want to advocate for is to advocate for a trade tribunal. A trade tribunal helps to deal with disputes, economic and business disputes between our countries. As you are aware, Uganda has been having issues with Kenya. Kenya banning our agricultural products, sugar, milk, poultry, eggs, and the like. The same has been done by Tanzania, banning the importation of timber and the like. You've seen our traders how they're being treated in Southern Sudan. But whenever there is always an issue, it becomes a bilateral issue between the two countries. But we are saying we have a community. You don't hear a community coming into such an issue. We must establish a tribunal whereby if I have an issue with Uganda has an issue with one of these countries, or these countries have an issue with any of the countries, they can go to court. And that judgment is used as a precedent to deal with other conflicts. But now today depends on the good and the negotiation skills of the different ministries and delegations. That cannot work in a community where you say you have removed any impediment. We must. So if we need to have like if we need to have like a tax, let's know what kind of taxes people are levying. If we need to have subsidies, how are these different countries subsidizing, so that it is uniform. Okay? Today, where you had Ugandans are seeking to have like a policy, like a beggar my neighbor policy, so that if Kenyans are banning, we also ban. that doesn't help our economies to grow. So I want to fight, I want to go and speak to our colleagues in South Africa to have this tribunal. It will sort most of this mess and help trade to move easily. The other factor or policy I want to advocate for is to have a policy that protects border trade from interstate political conflicts. I want to give an example, which is new to all of you. The example of Uganda-Rwanda. For three years, the border between Uganda and Rwanda has been closed. Closed for reasons not discussed in the public domain. But there are people whose life for many years has been dependent on that kind of trade. They have lost business, lost their property because they had picked loans. Their kids cannot go to school. Some have even died because of that kind of closure. But in the past, all of you have studied history up to senior 4. You will know the trans-Sahara trade, the caravan trades. Even those communities then, Buganda, Bunyoro, Buganda, Karagwe, Tora, and Kole, even if they had a conflict, fighting, if they saw traders, they would be given a passage. But why is that in this modern time and era, 21st century, you have a conflict, people's livelihood come to standstill? It is what we must stop. Have policies that you can have your conflicts, even if it's for 10 years, and be able, but leave trade to prosper. But it's also even funny. We must have a mechanism in East Africa that deals with such conflicts, so that we don't need third parties from other countries to come and fix when you have 7 heads of states. That's a vote of no confidence among the leadership in East Africa. My final point is I would want the removal of restrictions on the movement of factors of production, especially labor and capital. Dear colleagues, members of parliament, and fellow Ugandans, we need to advocate for policies that help allow the free movement of factors of production, especially labor and capital. Today, as you must be aware, that there's a lot of restrictions in as far as our people are moving in other areas, in other countries, especially West Africa. Ugandans have had serious problems in Sudan, Rwanda, Tanzania, Burundi, many losing their business, and even others losing their lives. And then today you tell them there is a community. This community must create a situation whereby anybody who is a citizen of East Africa feels at home in whichever area of East Africa that person is. Because this is the real reason as to why we created the East African community. To remove so that Uganda no longer feels a landlocked country. So that what happens in Kenya, it concerns you, it doesn't concern you. It's your home. You hear of a job in Tanzania, you go for it. But today banks in Uganda are for Kenyans. And Ugandans are not annoyed with that. And they feel at home. Top jobs are occupied by Kenyans. We don't mind. Because that is the East African one. But Ugandans must also feel the same. If they go to Kenya, if they went to Sudan, if they went to Tanzania, if they went to Rwanda, if they went to Burundi. Dear colleagues, we must fight for that. As well, we must fight for the creation of a joint research, so that if you're doing research about a huge project, because research needs a lot of money, we must use, we must have an East African research center where we do research like on AIDS, research on technology, research on anything. We merge resources and be able to engage in such ventures. Otherwise, that is when we shall be seen as relevant. I must tell you, leadership is about solving problems. And when in a leadership position, and you spend a week, a month, and you don't feel in your mind that you're thinking about solving a problem of your people, you must know you're about to be set retirement. Or if they don't, and they don't do that is your role, at the end of the day, you might never leave any kind of legacy. Ladies and gentlemen, members of the August House, the 11th Parliament of Uganda, I present myself. Harold KAIJA is seeking to become a member of Parliament of the East African Legislative Assembly. I am not the best, but I have the will. I am dependable. I am loyal. I am assertive. I am committed. I am resilient. I am a fighter. I'm a team player. I'm a team builder. I can do anything that is humanly needed to make sure that our agenda is driven home. East Africa Legislative Assembly needs some kind of vibrancy, needs some kind of heat, needs some kinds of vigor. We must stamp our authority. We must be seen so that we are able to compete with the rest of the East African community. Thank you so much. God bless you. Mwebale nnyo. Mwebalire ddala. Mwebale afoyo. Mwebale ino. Asante sana. Arakanoi. The BESIGYE would say Wanyala Nabi. Thank you so much. God bless you. Please support me. Ask a friend to vote for Harold KAIJA as one of the 9 members of EALA that represents Uganda. The good thing, you have 9 slots. In one of the slots, insert KAIJA. I'll always count on you. I'll always remember you. Thank you so much. Bye. Norman. Norman.
Stopping.
So you want, but